Sunday. Every Sunday, side by side at the microphone, from the green light to the speed trap, Chris Switzer and Ray Carino calls them as they sees them, and you better believe them. Here, relevant news, biased opinions, and outright bullshit regarding every aspect of automotive culture. Gasp at mechanical trickery never before revealed over FCC-regulated airwaves. Thrill to the explosive tension as Chris and Ray cuss each other down the track and barrel roll across the finish line, laughing at certain disaster as they shake hands for the devil. All that and much more this Sunday at high noon on the MotorMouth Radio Hour. Call in and speak live with the Wizards of Speed and live feed, Chris Switzer and Ray Carino. Bring the whole family. Kids under 12 get in free. Every Sunday at noon on WHPC. Take the Long Island Expressway to the Meadowbrook Parkway and look for the sign saying no parking on the expressway and no express service on the parkway. Go right on Highway 24 to Garden City. $2 all-day parking includes pit pass. Sunday!
I feel tears welling up, going deep inside, like my heart's gonna get broke. And the stab of loneliness, sharp and painful, that I may never shake. You might say that I was taking it hard since you broke me off with a call. Sharp and painful, that I may never shake when I'm a brick right down a ball. Now the race is on and here comes sharp and painful, that I may never shake when I'm a brick.
Yeah, the race is on. The race is on, and we got some feedback over here. You have tuned into Long Island's only automotive show on. Yeah, the race is on. The race is on, and we got some feedback over here. You have tuned into Long Island's only automotive show on. Yeah, the race is on. The race is on, and we got some feedback over here. You have tuned into Long Island's. Okay, figured it out.
Hey, is the race on, Ray?
The race is on, and YouTube Live is going to give us some trouble. So,
okay,
that's what we have. We have another thing to work through, apparently. So,
got it. This is always and has always been an experiment in the making. This is one of the. I guess you could say this is the show we've been experimenting for the last 20 years on this fine upstanding program. And this is MotorMouth Radio, your 1 hour automotive talk show. Right here, I'm in the Nutmeg State. Ray is in Long Island. We are bistatual.
Yes, we are.
We are taking your calls and talking cars on this 1 hour long extravaganza we call MotorMouth Radio. And we are taking those calls at 516-572-7440 while Ray is dancing on the head of a pin.
Yeah, thank you for that, Chris. We were trying to do something different. You know, we have been, we finally figured out a way to record our Zoom meeting and put it up as a file. So we did some of our, the woman clip. And people can see that if they go to the MotorMouth Radio Facebook page, which is MotorMouth Radio on Facebook. We're also MotorMouth Radio on the internet and on Twitter. On Instagram, it's real_MotorMouth Radio. Right. And today I tried to do a simulcast to YouTube Live. I figured that'd be cool too, except that's when we heard all of that back and forth stuff that was bad. So hey, you know, it was a experiment that just failed.
So the joys of live, joys of live radio. No, exactly. And you know what? That's fine, because what we will do is we will put the show on video. It will be same day taping, just like they used to do on the Daytona 500 on CBS FM CBS Channel 2. Yeah, back in 1976. They would do the same day airing of the show.
Well, that's the thing. You know, if nothing else, we'll just keep practicing until we break it or get it right. And, you know, that's the thing when you're in a live format like this, we can't do this before or after because we're not in the studio, you know, so some things have to be done like that. So anyway.
During.
Yeah, during. So we'll, what the heck?
I always say our listeners and viewers are very patient people.
Right. Well, they get to tune off, so they have the upper hand ultimately.
Right. So we have to stay here for another hour.
Right. So let me tell you, we had one of the coldest day of the year yesterday.
Oh, good God, was it cold?
From the night before. So, what did you choose to do automotively?
I'll tell you this. I did drive about 3 minutes from one house down the road to another house Friday night, late Friday night. And I can tell you, Ray, what would you say? The tire pressure warning light went on like, dish, 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 dish. It was going in full bore. And mind you, I just pulled the car into the driveway and left it there. I haven't even looked at it, haven't even considered looking at it until it's above 40 degrees.
It's probably okay by now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But I was thinking to myself, oh yeah, I'll go out there and check the tire pressure in -2.
Right. Well,
my compressor wouldn't work. I'm sure of it. My compressor, I plug it in and it would go.
I did something a little more, daring, I guess.
Whatever it is, you're out of your mind. Let's start this off right now. You're out of your mind. I don't care what it was. I want to know what it is, but you're out of your mind.
Took apart and drained the cooling system to change a radiator in a car. How's that?
Gee.
So
Friday night or Saturday morning? Friday night was
Saturday morning. Yeah.
Saturday morning when it was 4 degrees.
Yeah, probably around there. Yeah.
Talk to me, my boy.
Well, antifreeze kind of insulates you. So what the hell? You get wet. You get. No, I had to do a job in the Protege. I had the top tank started leaking on that car back in December. And just to reiterate, to go back from years now, I would always get a little slight whiff of antifreeze smell in that car. And I noticed that the recovery bottle would go lower over time. And I thought I probably had a bad head gasket because I never saw anything leaking or anything. Mm-hmm. So now in December, I noticed that the top tank, I guess that there was fluid up on the tank that's all crimped. So I ordered a radiator and hoses from Rock, and I said, okay, I'll get to it. And Saturday was the day. That was it. This is the day we're going to change this.
Now, mind you, I'm perplexed by this, as you can plainly hear.
I do.
Why did you do it then? You have a 36-degree day. I'm taking a look in the Nutmeg State here. It's 36 degrees, so I'm sure it's 5 to 7 degrees warmer where you are. Why did you do it today? I'm
back to not even wearing a coat today. I'm wearing just a flannel shirt again. That's how nice it is today here. We'll get to the weather later, but I can tell you that right now. Why the hell? I got it done with a bug. Yeah, 39, 40. It was in the early 40s, low 40s. Because of opportunity. I didn't want to have a day, my wife and daughter, they were already ready to hunker down in the house and build a fire in the kitchen and, have.
I was with them. Yeah. I'd be sitting there shoulder to shoulder with them. Yes.
And I said, by 10 o'clock in the morning, I'll be asleep in a chair again. That to me, that's the death knell. I got to get out and do something. So, and boy, did I ever. I didn't get home until it was almost dark last night from the stuff I had to do.
Wow.
It was just a good opportunity. Of course, I went down to the shop and did it. So,
you drove the car to the shop.
Oh, yeah. And better than that, Mike was already there because he had brought the man lift in. He was changing some lights, putting some really cool LED lights on the ceiling. Really, it's an affordable way to go. It gives you quite a lot of light. So he was there before me, so the heat was already on, so it was like, pull in, drive in. Okay, let's get to work. And that's the way to do it. Work like a gentleman. I wouldn't have done this if I had to do it outside. Forget it. No,
I'm amazed. Yeah, because I'm sure even with the shop heat on, I bet you it was a tepid 30 degrees.
No, it's warm in the shop.
It was warmer?
And I did brace myself, and I wore one of the best things that a guy can get. I have those the thermal line.
Yes, but what clothes were you wearing?
Yeah, that's a whole other story. I have those thermal line jumpsuits, but they get kind of cumbersome when you got to. I mean, with this job, not so much, but if you have to do interior, the arms and sleeves. So I just wore I have these fleece lined jeans that are really, really super comfortable and very warm. And I just kind of, wear a long sleeve pullover. That was like the first time I wore a long sleeve shirt so far this year. Other than a flannel.
Yeah, you're not one now.
And and a work shirt over that, and I was done. I was absolutely fine. So because you have to have range of motion when you're working, you really do. You have to.
You do.
I can't be restricted.
I hate to say it, my days of working in single-digit weather outside or even in the garage are numbered.
Mike and I talked about that, how we all grew up doing that outside.
Yeah. And I would shovel snow to the car in order to pop the radiator out of it.
I've done transmissions and clutches and, how to tamp down the snow to put cardboard over it so you could lay on that,
Right.
And those days are, for me, that's done. But
right.
So yeah, I got the job done, and that was that. So everything was fine, and the rock radiator passed the test. It went in very well, and everything was fine. But I bought a new tool, and I want to tell you about it. It's really cool. I really got it to use on the Fiat because that car, if you look at the cooling system wrong, you get an air bubble, an air lock.
Right.
Okay.
You said it's a bad design because the radiator is higher than the engine, correct?
Exactly. So you need to have the engine higher so that it'll flow down. But this just always makes an airlock. So I bought this device. You attach it to the neck of the radiator. It's a device with a gauge and ports. So what you do is you put shop air on it, and what it does is it depressurizes or vacuums the cooling system. So it pulls a vacuum on the cooling system, and there's a gauge so you can see it going negatively. And the cool thing is you see the hoses go, they just collapse. And the one thing that I'm going to pay attention to for future use with this tool with older cars is the coolant recovery bottle also sucked in.
Ooh.
And I had to change one in the Protege years ago because it cracked.
I was going to say they're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, well, just from normal use, it cracked. So now that could be a problem where where that happens. But you pull a vacuum on the system, and now it's like doing a brake bleed with vacuum. Mm-hmm. Then when you switch the valving to shut off the shop air and open the input, which is a hose that goes down into your coolant supply, it just sucks the coolant right up right into the radiator and fills the system. So worked really nice, really well, and I'm waiting to see how that works if I have to use it on the Fiat because that's the car I always had trouble with. So so I got to use the new tool, play around with that, and
cool.
That worked well.
How long did the job take you from the time you pulled in to the time you allegedly pulled the car out?
I didn't really clock it per se. And again, and you always do a couple other little things, a couple hours. It was just a few hours. I wasn't rushing. I wasn't looking to make a time record out of it.
Right.
So, and I let it drain, nice and, give it time to drain. So yeah, just a couple hours by the time it was all said and done. And then by the early afternoon, we were going to get out of there. Let's see what this flashy light means when we'll go to the phones and say, hi, you're on with the MotorMouths.
The flashy light means that you're stuck with me.
Aha.
On a couple of points on your conversation today.
Okay.
I don't know, when you drove to the shop, did you have that flat spot thump?
The flat spot thump?
Yeah, on all the tires, because I had to drive around, and when I first started it up, until the tires weren't warmed up, I was just getting the thump, 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 thump.
Oh, yeah, and you know what? That's a really good question because this car doesn't get used. But with radial tires, what I found is with smaller sized average car radial tires, that doesn't happen. On my Impala that had wide 255s, they would flat spot a little bit. But no, I had I didn't get the flat spot thump. I was in good shape.
And the Jeep, I was getting that. And as far as like with your radiator smell, not the coolant smell, I know on one of my cars, I had it where there was like a pinhole leak on a freeze out plug, and it would drip out onto the exhaust. So that's why there was no puddles underneath the car.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, right. But you got that smell though of burned antifreeze, which is
it was always crazy. I'm crawling underneath. I'm like, what's going on here?
Right. Well, that's what used to happen with this car. I would lose coolant, and I would get a slight whiff of antifreeze occasionally, but I never saw it anywhere. And I thought it was probably a head gasket, and it wasn't. I don't think it was. I think it was just the radiator slowly going bad. So,
wow. As long as it works.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Okay. But I would have thought about changing the radiator anytime, but either Friday night or Saturday morning this past week. When I checked my phone, it was -5, and that was about 5 o'clock in the morning, Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care if cars are on fire. I'm not going out there.
Right.
I think on Long Island, it dropped down to maybe 4 or 6. I remember seeing the outdoor thermometer that low.
Yeah.
Well, back Christmas, we had that was when I went to the UD Christmas party. It was 16 degrees when I left my house in Nassau. Where I left the UD in Queens at 1 a.m., it was like 8 degrees, and that was frigid. And that was the last time, it was that. And then I think just like this, the next day it was up in the 30s, 40s, and up we go again. I'm really liking the weather on Long Island is getting a lot nicer, Joe. It really is.
As long as the wind doesn't start wrecking stuff in my yard.
Oh, I was getting pummeled. My house was getting pummeled.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the call, Joe. We appreciate the info as always. It's always a pleasure.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right.
Good hearing from you, Joe.
So
be safe.
All right. That's Joe the Undertaker. So
batten down that stuff in the yard.
So I got to tell you, I was in the outer borough of Queens a lot this past week for a bunch of times. We had a few road trips to do and recons, and I went up to the UD again yesterday and saw the boys and all of that stuff. And we have a switch. We have a change at the shop. We have out with the old and in with the new now.
Right.
So it's out with the old Corvette and in with the newer Corvette. And
oh yeah! Holy smokes! So the what was the 85?
Yes,
that's
out.
Kicked
to the curb like a bastard stepchild. That's outside now. Nobody even wants to look at it. It's like
okay, the
done.
85 is done, and what has replaced the 85?
A beautiful black 93 40th anniversary.
Ooh, a much better version of a C4.
This one has the LT1 in it, not the TPI engine.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll tell you something. I drove the car back from Queens to the shop yesterday. That was my job. And I tell you, now my Impala has an LT1 in it. Right. So I know how those engines feel. The cars feel totally different. It's unbelievable how and I mean, just by, of course, a Corvette feels different than an Impala. There's no
right.
Even engine
those apples and oranges, yes.
Yeah. So, it's funny how, you could have the same equipment in different cars. Like Kevin has a 68 GTO and my GTO has a 68 GTO engine in it, but our cars are totally different. It's amazing how that happens. The personalities are very, very unique.
Oh yeah. I can totally believe it. I'm sure you would think that the 68 has been designed better, right? An improved design over the 65 because they're two totally different cars, even though they probably have the same drivetrains or similar drivetrains. But it's probably not the case, right? You would say there's probably some stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The cars are totally different, but we have the same engines in our cars. My engine's out with the 68, and those engines are totally different. They're two totally separate animals. And it's kind of cool how that happens with different vintages.
No, I totally agree. Kevin's GTO is probably more stock than yours.
Hell yeah, the car, yes. As far as the car goes, yeah. So I like it because when I get in his car to go to a cruise night, and it's a convertible, so we get out on the highway, I'm like, wow, this is how a cruiser is supposed to feel. You just kind of float. It sits kind of higher. It's a higher ride, and you just kind of float down the road, and you hear the exhaust burbling, and it's like, wow, this is comfortable.
You can actually have a conversation in the vehicle. I get
in my car. I'm like, it's low. I'm banging gears. I'm like, I want to look. I'm doing like 90-degree turns with the thing because it's set up totally, totally different.
I have that. I stumbled on that video of
the test drive.
You and I driving in your car, and it was still a work in progress. It wasn't a finished vehicle like it is now.
Right.
And I remember how loud it was because I was turning to you and going, "This is really cool."
No, you said sounds like a box of dinner plates. We'll have to repost that video. Maybe we should put that up on Faccia Bruta.
Find it, I can find it and drop it on. Not a problem.
It was a quickie. Sure. I think it was. We just went around the campus here where the radio station is. We did.
Yeah.
And, I had no door panels in the car, no car, and
no insulation whatsoever.
You heard every rock that hit the floor, and see, to me, that's cool. I love driving cars that way. I like that bare bones, hot roddy. We were talking about that at the UD with Dougie. Like we were talking with Billy G about this. When a car isn't painted, and my car wasn't painted at the time, it's a whole nother animal, and people look at it different than the ones that are painted.
Oh yeah.
Watch out for those non-painted cars because the guy driving it is a little more serious.
No, it's true. I remember when I was a kid, my dad traded cars with a friend of his, And if I remember correctly, it was a big block 70 Corvette, and it was orange. We had the T-tops off it. I had to be maybe 8 years old, if that. And I remember I was so small I couldn't see over the dash. And we went driving around in this thing, and you know what kind of characteristics a car like that has. It's loud. It's just such a beast.
Yeah.
And we spent the whole day with it. And at the time came where we were swapping cars back. My dad at the time had a Riviera, a 66 Riv. And we got out of the Corvette and got into the Riv. And as soon as he pulled away, we both went, quiet. Oh, silence. Oh, this is nice.
And that's why I've always had more than one car on the road. Even when I was in my 20s, I always had 2 cars registered. One was that hot rod, and the other one was the one you get in with the girlfriend, or if you had to take your mom somewhere, and you could cruise quietly with some kind of accoutrements or whatever. Absolutely.
Right. One was definitely a date car. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, you see, but I use my hot rod as a date car. That's what endeared the deal with my wife was
the deal.
Well, I used to take her,
you romantic devil, you.
I remember when I went and first picked her up, I felt bad about the GTO. So I was driving a 65 Coupe de Ville, and I brought the Caddy. Little did I know, it impressed her father, who became my father-in-law. Oh, there's a Cadillac. Wow. Oh. Hey, it's a 65 Caddy. It was a used car. It was like I paid $250 for it. Come on. But it was sharp. It was navy blue interior. It was a nice car, all original, and she was impressed. But I found out later she liked driving in the hot rod more because I guess it's more visceral. It's more like now you're gonna see what your man is all about. Anybody can drive a Caddy. Can you drive a street brawler? I'm just trying to get in the mind of a.
Now anybody can see what your man is doing.
Right.
Is that what she said? What your man is doing.
And of course, I have stories like everybody. I remember the first time I was driving my Camaro at the time. Now the Camaro would wax the GTO. The Camaro was a real hot car, and we're cruising around, and everybody's picking street races back then. And this dude gets up next to us, and he's screwing around. I'm like, okay, like he wants to go. So I said to her, hey, this guy wants to go. She goes, go where? Let him go. She thought I meant let him go in traffic. I'm like, no, not let him go down. Like he wants to race who? Race me. She's like, really? Do you do that? I'm like, yeah, I do. She goes, you want to do that? I'm like, do you want to do that? I'm like, you gotta hold on.
I
said, because I'll go with this guy. No problem. I think I got him, and we did. It was a real quickie. It was one of those ones. It was over by second gear. Power shift second gear at 7,800 RPM, and wow! And then he was behind me. I shut it down. It's like fourth. We're done. And of course,
what was the car you were up against? Do you remember?
It was another Camaro, but it was first gen. And of course, it was a good thing that I beat him so badly because as I threw it, out of second into fourth. I had an L88 hood on that car, big cowl hood, because I had a big tall tarantula with a carburetor sat crooked on it. You needed the space, and with that, a burst. You couldn't. The windshield was just clogged, cleared, wet.
What?
Fluid heater hose. And the back of that hood was so tall; it was like a 7-inch opening. Everything just came right out, right over the windshield. It was like, okay, we got to pull over. And an Autobahn at like 10 at night, and I'm buying like the heater hoses, the pink ones that are in the bag. I bought a pink one and a black one, and I'm out there changing heater hoses on the side of the road,
burning your hands like ow.
I remember, I have a couple times like that where we were in the car, and I would say, it was probably before that, and I remember we were just discussing. I remember, my soon-to-be wife had said to me, "Yeah, is this car fast?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I always drove very nice, respectfully. I wasn't.
You were trying to,
I could do that. So I said,
keep a good facade, I should say.
I said, "Do you want to see kind of like fast?
How quick it is?"
And she's like, yeah, I guess. I'm like, okay. So we're at the light. I said, I'm not gonna do the whole shot thing because now we'll be going sideways of smoke. And I said, I said, I'm just going to roll out and I'll punch it and I'll go a 1-2. And she's like, okay. So I remember light changed. I just kind of took off stiff. I didn't take off. If you drove a hot car with a stick, instead of a soft takeoff, I kind of took off with a little bit of a, I kind of rode the clutch up and came off it. So the car jumped a little and then I just laid into it. So it was like a roll. And then, wow, that car had a really loose motor. The engine just tacked up, power shift second. It was like, wow, boom, 2 seconds. It was over. And then I, again, just threw the shifter up into fourth and coast. And she had that look of like, whoa. I'm like, okay. I said, that's the beginning of fast.
Right.
She's like, what do you mean? I said, because you didn't have the whole shot experience. I said, and I could have taken this thing. We could have gone to like the 100-mile-an-hour,
right.
I said, so this was just the first couple seconds of what fast really is. And she's like, okay, good enough.
Done.
Check, please. So, and then I would drive normal again. So, yeah.
No, I totally get it. And you know what? When you guys were going fast, I wasn't. My guys were all driving those old $250 Cadillacs. It's kind of ironic. I paid the same amount of money for my 64. And we used to watch you guys break things. That was our job.
Oh, hell
and then we'd drive home like, bye, see ya.
Well, the good thing is, you see, we had friends like you too, and like you, no cell phones, you couldn't call anybody. But a lot of times, your buddy everybody's cruising to town, like we were doing.
Sure. Not
as good as 86th Avenue was, but we still had our strips in our areas. So you flag one of your buddies down. Hey, get over here! I need a ride. I got to go pick up a carburetor. I need a new clutch. Let's go get a floor jack.
Yeah.
We pick you up and drag you home. Yeah.
Oh, I always said before the advent of a cell phone, the way everyone knew I was home was they would look down the block, and if they saw my hood open,
right,
they knew I was home. They drive down the
true.
block. Yeah, I didn't need a cell phone growing up. I just popped the hood and just sat there.
Sure.
Basically, people would show up. It was like flies.
That's like what Mikey T said when we were doing a show with him back in 04 and so, and he was looking at my photo albums and said, oh my God, he goes, the pictures you have, this could be my house. It's like all the same cars in front of the house. He goes, we were doing the same thing, just in a different town. I was like, yeah. Then I learned Chris was doing the same thing in Brooklyn, a little different. There was a little more Capizios and there's a little more fine leather going on, but
you guys had more room. You had more elbow room.
Yeah, we were a denim and leather crowd, and
we had to do a lot of shimmying, a lot of shimmying in because you were going between cars.
Right.
You didn't have a garage.
We're out in the backyard. Yeah, just had.
You guys were playing football back there and pulling engines and all kinds of wacky stuff.
Hey, so before we take our break, I want to tell you the FJ has another battery in it. This happened 2 weeks ago. Remember we were talking about that? How I had
you said you had a bad cell.
I go back to the interstate shop with the truck, and I said to him, I did it like that Monday, and I said, look, I think I got another bad cell. He goes, yeah. So I bring the battery in, and he puts it up on the charger. He goes, yeah, the battery it's discharged. I was like, well, the truck charges, the alternator works. I said, so there's your problem right there, the battery. Right. So no problem. He handed me over a new battery, put it in the truck, and I can tell when it's going to work right because it really cranks. Beep, 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 beep. It's fast.
Right. You get that quick crank. Right.
So again, just for the record, another interstate bit the dust. And if he wasn't giving me free batteries, I'd change brands. But it's like
how many batteries have you gone through?
I've gone through 4 in the truck already. I've only had a little over a year and a half.
Holy jeez.
And the last one, I put a piece of tape on it. The one I just took out lasted 10 months. That one went in March of 22. So that one I did get the most amount of. The one before that, I think I only got 2 months out of, 2 or 3 months out of.
That's incredible. And it's not the car. It's not you're not getting a auxiliary draw.
Nope.
When it's off. Wow.
No. And it's charging, so it's definitely the batteries. So
right.
Like I said, as long as he keeps giving me free ones, I'll keep changing them.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a break, and I want to tell you, it was a story I should have talked about last week, and I forgot about it. So you've heard about, of course, everybody heard about by now, Jay Leno's latest accident that he had on the motorcycle,
after burning himself, he ended up spilling a motorcycle, right?
He basically went down a side street, then through a parking lot, and then there was a cable that clotheslined him off of his bike. Well, I want to tell you, the same thing happened to me a few years ago, right here outside. Now I want to tell you the story about it because it is serious stuff that's, that needs to be there needs to be awareness. So
you're teasing it. You're teasing it before the break.
Of course.
Ray's alleged clotheslining, or maybe he got clotheslined. We don't know, but we'll find out.
That's in the Radio 101 book that I had to study. You made me study. You said, read this book, damn it, and learn it. I'm like, okay. But first, I got to tell you that coming up on Mondays at 9, you'll want to check into a show called Rising Stars here on WHPC. Rich Eberly, who's a great DJ. This guy is phenomenal. He does some cool stuff. And he plays the best in independent emerging artists from Long Island, New York, and the world. So that's Rising Stars Monday at 9.
Sounds good.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't report on the weather. Of course, our weather is powered by Pantano's Gourmet in Hewlett, Uniondale, and Garden City Park.
Give us the weather.
You know what? Since I last checked, it went up. It's 41 degrees outside. It's clear, slightly cloudy. High of 45, low 26. Tonight, it'll be scattered darkness followed by overwhelming light in the morning. And I think it's going to be in the 40s again tomorrow. So, and by you, of course, it's 10 degrees colder. So.
I was going to say, taking a look out the MotorMouth Radio weather window, I see that it's pretty mixed of sun and clouds, light breezes, and about 5 to 7 degrees colder than where you are.
So more importantly than that, do we have an honor group of the hour?
Well, of course we do. In this fine, upstanding program that we call MotorMouth Radio, yes, we do. And this week, the MotorMouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour, if you still own a vehicle with sealed beam headlamps. Do you remember when one of your old T3s burned out and you went up to the local parts store to choose from merely 3 types of headlights? There was either a single low beam, a single high beam, or, as spectacular as it may sound, a single round bulb, which contained the low and the high beam. And things got a little tricky in the mid-70s when General Motors introduced the rectangular headlight in separate low and high beams. So now your headlight choices had more to do with a pizzeria when you could choose from either a round or a square. Nowadays, you're inundated with the likes of headlight bulbs in halogen, LED, xenon, HID, and even laser configurations. So if you miss those days when you can order your headlights like you'd order your pizza in round or square, or if you still own a vehicle with round or square headlights, you are part of the MotorMouth Radio Honor Group of the Hour, and you is old.
Pizza. You know, I learned something from Steve Magnante on his new version of the Junkyard Crawl at Bernstein's Auto Wrecking.
Oh, I'm a big fan. I watch it all the time.
He always shows that the car has, look, it still has its original T3s. And this is why I love Steve. I didn't know what T3 meant. I thought it was like the manufacturer. But he says, no, that was an assembly line thing.
You do now.
Down and in 3 degrees to get the right road look. I'd like, wow. I always wondered what that was all about. And
yes,
take Steve to teach me. So
I learned from the master as well, and a better person because of it.
Yeah. So just like on other things in this show, we can make a wreck of things, but we can usually find our way out somehow, with a tow line or whatever. So we'll just count on Dave Edmonds to help us a little bit with that, because you probably didn't hear the first song I played because the way the show started, it was so.
I kind of thought that was Dave Edmonds. No, I heard it.
Yeah, with the races on. He was covering, doing a country cover. So,
right.
So let's do that on MotorMouth Radio, 90.3 WHPC. Keep it where you got it.
Right back with your car questions. Give us a call at 516-572-7440.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision, with 2 locations in Limerick and Oceanside, who remind you that New York state law says you always have the right to choose which shop will fix your car. CarStar Celebrity Chase Collision offers a full range of services, 24-hour towing between Montauk and Manhattan, shuttle service, and they can help you with a rental car arrangement if needed. All repairs include the CarStar lifetime nationwide warranty, ensuring that the experts at Celebrity Chase Collision are always on your side.
Y sí, hablamos español.
More information is available at 516-593-0920 or online at celebritychasecollision.com.
Okay, Mark Warman here from Graveyard Cars, hanging out with my buddies at, what's the name of it again?
MotorMouth Radio.
Hey, Mark Warman here from Graveyard Cars, hanging out with my friends at MotorMouth Radio. Sunday morning, I don't know what this fat bald guy's laughing about. You'll forget stuff soon enough too, my friend. Be sure to listen. When are you guys on? 10 a.m.?
Sundays at noon.
Noon on Sundays.
Excellent. This was
no, that's you got the promo. The best one was the first one. That's why I was because you said what was the name of this again? That's the promo.
What better presentation could you do than that?
Hey, you get over here. Every Sunday, 12 to 1, you are going to tune in to hear the MotorMouths, my friends Ray Guarino and Chris Switzer, 90.3 FM. WHPC. You might learn something. Yeah, we're crawling from the wreckage
every week.
You think half a brain will get the message? Bits and pieces of me are stuck in the bushes and hedges. We had a phone call, but we'll have to see if that call will come back. Thank you, Mark Warman, for that great. I smile when I hear that, Chris.
It's so
Thank
ridiculous.
you, Kim. That's and that's what you get when you do it live. You know, you get that impromptu. What am I going to do? Okay, what do you want me to do? Good, I'll do it. So
right,
excellent.
Well, I've always said there was a promo that Kim Tracy did for us way back, and she messed one up. She says, "Oh, I should have said MotorMouth Radio." She did the whole promo and never said MotorMouth Radio. And I said, "No, you leave that one. That's the best one." And
wasn't that the one I just played?
I think it was.
I think it was because I like it so much.
Yeah, I think it was probably the one. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's play this. Let's go to the phones and say hi. You're on with the MotorMouths.
Hey, MotorMouth. It's Mike, Ray. How you doing, Chris?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mikey.
All right. Taking it on its maiden voyage out on Ocean Parkway.
Mike is in the Corvette. How was it getting in that car, Mike?
Did you fall in?
It was tight, Ray.
You know, they say that you have to fall in and climb out.
Yep.
Once you're in, it's not bad. I got the seat up pinned to the back.
Right.
Pretty steering wheel's all the way up.
Right.
It's definitely not the Grand Prix or the Chevelle.
No, let me ask you this. When you got in and closed the door, just for a second, was there a little bit of like a claustrophobia thing going on?
Yeah.
Like a coffin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I guess it would be.
Because I kind of felt that too last night. And I was like, okay, hold on. So I cracked the window, said, okay, I got control. It's not so bad.
Right.
Yeah, those cars are close.
It's that low sloping windshield and the high door jams that make you feel like you're in a bathtub. Yeah, it's true.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I never owned one, never really drove one. But it's nice. I mean, out on Ocean Parkway, it's nice. It's running smooth. You know, the road is nice out here.
Sure.
Doing a nice 62 right now, cruising.
Right. Yeah, and 62 is, that's conservative for that car. I mean, it'll do 162 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely got the finished version of the C4, that's for sure. 93 is a nice year. I like the dash. The dash is nice. The way it sweeps down, it's a lot better than the 85.
They put an analog tack in it, and then
they wised up.
Right, and then the other gauges along the side. I like that there's an oil temperature and oil pressure. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was cool.
Yeah.
You know, Doug was talking about the heater car.
Right.
I can smell it a little bit.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I smell. Barbara smelled it too.
Okay. Wow. You guys got better noses than me, I guess, because I didn't pick that up.
I mean, I lowered the fan and dropped the temperature down a little bit.
Right.
But
right.
yeah, there's a little hint of it.
Okay.
So it's got a little leak. I don't know. And like you said, there's nothing on the floor. Well,
Right.
used to it after a while, 10, 15 miles already.
Yeah.
Starting to become one with the car.
That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. Yeah.
He's one with the car.
And I tell you something, you kind of feel cool driving that car. It's like, you kind of feel stealthy. I don't know. It's like you're driving a little missile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you said yesterday, nobody was looking at you. You were like, hey, I'm driving a Corvette. Why aren't you looking at me?
I know. You're just another goofball in a Corvette. 'Cause everybody's in trucks and everybody just wants to cut in front of you. I'm like, yeah, go on. I don't care. Fine.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm sure the new Corvettes are nice. I'm sure they drive very nice.
Well, yeah, every generation did get a little nicer, a little more, comfortable, powerful, everything. Just they ramped it up with every generation.
Easier to get in and out of.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's true. I wouldn't be surprised, Mike, if getting out of that car involves either putting your hand on the pavement or on the T-top, one or the other. You're gonna need it.
I didn't hear you were breaking up. I didn't hear what you were saying.
Now, Chris was talking about how you got to put to get in the car. So usually like hand on the pavement. I found it's like right foot. You put your right foot and aim it for the gas pedal, and and then you swing your hip in and duck your head, and then you kind of fold yourself in, and then you got to lift that left leg in. And getting out, it's like take the left foot out, plant it on the ground, grab the sill with your hand, and push up as you extract your head to the left, and then drag your right foot out. Sounds like fun, huh?
I wonder if they have, when you get one, the owner's manual, if it shows you how to enter the car.
I wonder.
Right. I think Ray just read it from the owner's manual, I think.
Now what we got to do is I got to put you in my Impala. You got to drive the car, a different car with the same engine, and see that you have like the power is kind of the same, but the car is totally different. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh.
Yeah. What I wanted to tell you, I talked to Doug last night. I let him know that we got back okay and all. I just want to, and I told him, I said, the only thing that I saw that I would want to keep an eye on is I thought the car dropped into OD too soon, too fast.
Oh.
And it could be because I wasn't going fast enough. It was only going like 43 miles an hour, and it went into, and I know the Impala, I would hold it in drive and then, maybe just manually put it in. But if, I guess if you were on the highway, did you feel anything like that, or did it seem to shift into OD at the right time?
Yeah, no, it seemed fine to me. Shifted fine.
Okay, good. So it was probably just me. Yeah.
And maybe you're just a little too critical with it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, and everybody looks at things different ways. I know you look at the paint in a way that I couldn't even think about looking at paint because I don't have that information. And I look at other stuff that not everybody else does. So.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, you could definitely pick things out that the average person wouldn't pick out.
You know what? That's why it takes a team a lot of times. You got to have different eyes on different things, and and it all collaborates.
Yes, we know that for a fact.
Very good. So you're going to shoot out the cap tree and get a cup of coffee, maybe a roll or something, and
that's it.
Good.
We're testing OBIs now, and then close the cap tree. Probably leave it running because I don't know the car yet.
Right.
So I don't want to turn it off, and then all of a sudden I don't want to stop.
Right. It doesn't.
I think it'd be fine. Yeah, I think it'd be okay with that. Yeah.
I wait till I get home and try it.
Right. Very good. Very good, Mike.
You guys have a good show. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
See you later, Chris. And
yes.
I'll be some Corvette advice, Chris.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely get the crying towel out.
Hey.
There'll be a lot of hugging involved. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kumbaya.
A lot of kumbayas.
Right.
Definitely.
I'll see you later.
Okay, Mike. Enjoy the ride.
Bye-bye.
Congratulations on it, Mike.
Excellent. So that was fun. And on the road report. That was great.
Yeah, the car sounded good. I didn't hear anything crunching or knocking, so
Nice.
we're okay so far.
Nice and quiet. So let me tell you quick about this stupid, this dopey thing. Years ago, people wouldn't remember. Chris, you will. We have two parking lots outside, and they decided to make one a faculty lot, one a student lot, and to differentiate them, they threw up these like bicycle rack sections of bicycle rack. It looks like. Right? So you couldn't drive through. But people complained that now you couldn't walk through. So they took one section of bicycle rack out. And now you could, where you used to park in the far lot, you would walk right through there.
Right.
So it was a Sunday. I come in here on a motorcycle, on my BMW, and there's nobody in either lot. It's open. So I see that, I come in and I see that section was open. So I head for the open section. And I'm luckily only going about 10 miles an hour. Just as I approach it, I saw there was a cable stretched across.
Oh, no.
No flags, just like what happened to Jay Leno, right? So the problem is you got to make, like with anything, but certainly on a motorcycle, a split decision that might get you in more trouble.
Right.
My first thought was like, hit the brakes and stop. But I kind of did the time distance thing. And even at 10 miles an hour, I was so close to it that I didn't think I would stop. I'd probably get stuck on it and then fall over. So I kind of did the next thing. I ducked. Now,
you're kidding.
No, but the beauty, because I knew that I have a bike that has a full fairing on the front and a windshield.
Right.
So the cable, I can show you the scars. The cable hit the fairing, rode up the windshield, and since I ducked, went right over where my head would be.
Wow.
And then went boing and snapped back, and I went through, and I was like, you rotten. Then I got out and looked. I was like, son of a biscuit. Look what the hell.
The damage on the fairing is probably...
I put a scuff on it. Yeah.
Right.
But the real thing is, in retrospect, later on, I realized it could have been a lot worse. My windshield, I have a power windshield. It raises and lowers. And I always have it raised a couple inches just to deflect the air. If that cable had caught between the bottom of the windshield and the fairing, now it would have got caught on the brackets and it would have clotheslined the bike. And luckily, it rode up.
Wow.
But I thought about that in retrospect, even at the time, and said, wow, that's like getting clotheslined. And if I was going faster, holy crap, it could have been. So when I read that what happened to Jay, I said, that happened. It caught him across his chest. It didn't get his neck. When you think of clothesline, you think of a neck.
Yeah, sure.
It did get him in the upper chest.
It threw him off the bike.
And then I knew that because he had his knees were damaged, knees and hands, it threw them off the bike. And then he probably twisted like to get away from it. And that's how he landed on his knees. Because you usually don't land on your knees when you fall off a motorcycle.
Right. So yeah, because I heard both his knees were damaged. And I'm like, wow, what the heck happened? No, so now you're explaining it. Okay.
That's how it happened. And of course he broke a shoulder blade and then, did knee damage. Well, I haven't heard of an update, but he's okay. He's survived. And the bike, I think it was an old Indian. That bike could be worth $100,000. That was a projectile now.
Yeah, he's got a Vincent that's like $500,000.
He's got a Bro Superior, which is
that's another one. Yeah,
a black Shadow, the Vincent Black Shadow. Those bikes are worth crazy money.
Yeah.
So, but of course, it's not about money. It's really about the individual, the person.
No, I agree, but at that point I'd have them all sold.
Sure. So now you got to think. I'm sure Jay is thinking, hey, what am I doing? What am I going to do going forward? Like I was just out for an average. Yeah. Average ride, and look what and that's how it happens. That really is how it happens.
No, it's true. And the way I feel about motorcycles. As far as I'm concerned, I'd sell them all. But when I think about the age he's in his 70s. Are his reflexes the same as they were? I'm thinking, nope, I'll keep the Packard Caribbean convertible.
True.
And that's how I'll get my snoot full of air.
But that's why I wanted to tell this story, because when this happened to me, it was years ago. So I was younger than I am now, certainly younger than Leno is now.
Right.
You don't see that cable. That's like a punji stick. I mean, that thing was almost like you could be made to trap somebody. I mean, I don't think it was necessarily, but I didn't see it till I was a couple of feet away. And I was looking forward because I looked, I processed, okay, the racks, they moved the rack. So I was processing the data that I can go through there. Mm-hmm. Never saw that cable. Of course, there were no flags on it, which they should have had.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
and then you don't see it until you're feet away. So I don't blame Jay for hitting it because
no,
he
not
didn't
at all.
see it. Because I know, and that's the only reason I'm telling the story. I know it happened to me, and I didn't see it either. And I'm aware of that stuff. I was looking for something. Nothing.
When I was a young man and an early driver, I was in Kings Plaza parking lot on a Sunday, and it had parking levels in the garage, and it had these crescent ramps that would go up to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And I was being a kid. I had a Black Riviera at the time, a 66, and I went swinging around one of those ramps, and I started up the ramp, and midway through the ramp, there was a cable that was literally across. Like, I guess they were not having knuckleheads like
closed.
Me.
Yeah.
Right. And
closed.
No flags. And I hit the binders, I hit the brakes, and stopped that car, I would say about 2 inches before it hit the windshield.
Yeah. That's
and lucky. I'm like,
Sure.
You get those lessons in life. Don't be a jerk.
Right.
I was completely being a jerk, scrambling up making a lot of noise, squealing the tires, and just having a ball. And there it was. And I almost literally lost the windshield, or who knows what else if I was going fast enough. So totally get it.
Well,
totally.
I'll tell you about some squealing tires. Next week, I want to let everybody know, we're going to have Luke Tucker from the Easy Red Company on.
Cool.
Luke will be with us talking about stuff. And I got to talk, I have one of my Easy Red lights fell apart. I want to get it. I want to tell
remember you saying that. I have the Easy Red light that he had sent. This thing is, I love it. Yeah. I had it on this morning. I had to take care of a frozen pipe over it. Not mine.
Right. Good.
But I had to take care of a frozen pipe early this morning, and I had the Easy Red on. I was like, loving life. That thing is exceptional. I highly recommend them. Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be knee deep in more Corvette.
Good.
And just it's going to be weird working on a nice clean car too, because it's nice and clean.
I'm curious to know how the engineers were able to solve some of the problems of the earlier 84, 85, 86s.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I know they're much more finished C4s than the early versions. And I'd love to know through you, because I don't want to buy another one.
Well, you know what? I'm still looking at the one in my neighborhood, which I believe is even later. I think it's closer to 95, 96, the end of the run, which is the one that I would want.
Yeah.
And it's white. It's not black. I mean, the black car, beautiful. It's a beautiful car, but I'm not a black car guy. I never was. I know you are, but not me.
I so am.
So when I saw the white one with the black soft top, I was like, oh, that's a car for me. Throw the top down. I'll even concede to an automatic for the convertible. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's tough talk, my son.
But I'll tell you, as of right now, the woman that owns it, I did the Tom Cotter thing. I stick the mailman on her, and because he's a car guy. And first she thought about it, and then she decided not to sell. And her dad, who lives on the same block, who's a car guy, probably up in his 80s by now, he has a lot of nice stuff. He was telling her, no, if you're not using it, get rid of it, sell. So he's all for the sale, but she's got to make up her mind. And
so the car is doing a lot of sitting now.
It's been sitting for years.
Wow.
A couple blocks from my house.
Wow. So you're instantly going to need tires for it. Let's start with
probably.
that.
Yeah, probably.
Let's start with that.
Sure.
And it's convertible.
It's convertible, yeah.
And it's outside. It's not covered.
No, and that's the thing. Like I was wondering, so if it's outside the garage, what's inside the garage? I hear there's some motorcycles in there.
That's too bad.
But it looks good. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It does, like some cars that sit outside look bad. This car doesn't look bad.
Interesting. Yeah, when my 84 was prone to leaks, but in the car's defense, the weather stripping, just like all Corvettes of that vintage, the weather stripping was shrinking.
Well, you know what? I got an 85 for you, and it's got a brand new weather strip kit that goes with it.
And they're a couple of $100.
We'll throw it in a deal. I think I can. I think I can make that deal without problems. Yeah.
No, I can think of other things to throw at that car. Yeah. No, my days of C4s are done. They're done. I can't do it.
I got to put you in touch with the Triumph guy. We Mike and I were at a shop that up in College Point.
Yeah, I was.
You could stop, right?
I was laughing because I'm thinking about another one. It's either a TR6 or a TR3 or a Corvette or something small.
Right.
You know, it's up here in the nutmeg states where every road is a 2-laner and rolling hills and rambles. It's tough to drive a big old Chrysler.
Right.
Because you get people in little tiny Honda SUVs driving off the road when you're heading towards them.
Try driving Mike's brand new full-size Chevy truck, 4x4 truck, through the winding roads of College Point. That was my job on Friday.
Oh no!
You know what? Not a scratch.
Wow. Yeah. That talk about a neighborhood. College Point has got to be one of the most ill-planned neighborhoods.
It's like Borum Hill.
It really, it's every road is too narrow and they're both 2 ways.
And of course we ended up
they're all 2 ways.
And of course we ended up on a dead end. We had to go down a dead
end. Oh yeah. plus your random dead ends that just terminate anywhere.
Well, we were in a shop that was filled with a lot of foreigns, a lot of Euro trash. 2 Fiat Spiders, a TR6, a bunch of older MGs and Triumphs, a couple of Jags. There was some Corvettes. We went to look at a 75 that was in there, a couple of old Mustangs. And this guy buys and sells. You know, he's a broker.
Right.
So, you know, of course, no markings outside, not even a name. You know, just a steel door, you know, knock on the door.
There used to be a mechanic, a technician in College Point that serviced British cars.
Okay, well, there's a guy there who's still there, Joe Curto.
Joe Curto, that's him.
Okay, so I was talking with one of the mechanics, and I said to him, "Wow, you got a shelf full of Zeniths and SUs."
Yes,
you know what those are? I'm like, "Yeah, I know what they are." I said,
"Oh yeah, Joe knows me, that's for sure."
And he mentioned that he still deals with Joe Curto. I'm like, "Oh yeah," I said, "I got Joe Curto's magnet on my toolbox. I haven't used him for many years, but it's good to know he's still around."
That is true. It is good. And he's got a similar shop. It's just a roll down gate in a residential neighborhood.
I heard that he had moved back in the 90s, moved his shop. So I don't know where I think he's still in the same neighborhood, but I don't know where. So
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Joe knows me. I know Joe.
And he's still around. So that's good to know in case we ever need stuff. But
that's me. I had on one of the Zenith Stromberg carburetors, the plunger, the center plunger had a little grab in it. Like you'd roll it up and it was supposed to sink slowly. It would like stop midway down. It would travel, stop.
You got to polish it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I couldn't figure it out. And I brought it over to him and he was like, it was funny because he looked at it and he was like, oh, like I was totally wasting his time.
Right.
And he laid his hands on it, polished the spot on it, and it was beautiful. I was like, what do I owe you? He was like, go away. Not that I was happy because he never charged me. He loves the cars so much that's the type of person he is. And that's what I was impressed with him. And I said, I got to deal with you. You're my guy.
Well, we polished the spot in another hour. It's time to get out of here. Listen, follow us. Go check our social media. MotorMouth Radio on all the platforms except Instagram. It's real_MotorMouth Radio. We're going to see if we get that video up from the test drive. We'll see if we put that on Facebook. And Chris, what do we say to people in the parking lot waiting for me?
Don't follow us home, especially if you're in a C4.
You got, because I'll end up following you and working on your car. So, Chris Switzer, Ray Guarino will be back next week with more MotorMouth Radio, and Luke Tucker from Easy Red. 90.3 WHBC out. See ya.
See you, bye.